So I got a lot of complaints when I was comparing the OLED and the QLED in a dark room to people saying, oh, the QLED's so oversaturated. So I wanted to show you guys that this is an OLED. You see how oversaturated it looks? Let me show you something. If you open up your picture settings and you go into picture adjustments, you can see the color is set to 50. Now you notice how now that the picture menu is open and we have a bright element right here, how the camera reacts, and now that looks even more red and oversaturated and just ugly as fuck? That's because cameras artificially juice up saturation on phones. This is a known trick in the AV industry. A lot of AV YouTubers jumping up and down telling you their C10 isn't washed out and dead are using fucking cell phones to record them. If you don't believe that this artificial juicing happens, I want you to look at this. When I go out of this menu, you notice how the color kind of restores back to the general oversaturation most people would complain about? But furthermore, if you grab any TV in your house that's old and you record it with the cell phone, I guarantee you're going to see artificial juicing up of color. And you're even going to see clipping from time to time as scenes get brighter and darker. This is a natural behavior because your image sensor cannot capture all the light coming in when you have a really, really bright TV. Like right now, that flame looks like it's blown out. It looks like it's clipping. But the closer I get to it, you guys can clearly see it's a clearly defined flame. These are details that'll go missed, and it'll just, as you see, appear as one just overly bright blurb. These are the things that you're not seeing in these QLED versus OLED demonstrations that a lot of these YouTubers are showing off, because there's no way to show off every amount of brightness and darkness levels that you're seeing. But when you see an OLED and a QLED in a dark room and you see the QLED not having any clouding, flash lighting, or the typical problems you've heard about, it should be every bit as clear to most people out there that there is a very big difference in the information you're getting versus what the reality is. And it's so hard to show it off in these kinds of comparisons. So I just, again, wanted to show you guys what happens when you open up menus. Notice how, again, when I get this big one up, everything starts to overexpose, because what happens is the camera is trying to meter for two different levels of luminosity. The first being this menu, the second being the overall picture here. And that blows everything out. Now this holds true when you have brighter elements inside of a content piece. So for example, a giant spaceship in the sky, and then you have some other darker element somewhere in a scene, or a campfire scene, or a scene like this where it's mostly just one ambient color. You're gonna have a big issue with especially the color red and yellow showing that off accurately on camera. So I wanted to drive home again, we're at 50 color, it's not oversaturated. This is just what happens when you have cameras artificially juicing up color. So again, for anybody thinking that in these blind tests, the QLED was oversaturated, you need to take that as an intensity difference between the colors, but not what the colors actually look like in real life. As I stand before this Sony OLED, it looks absolutely brilliant. Now, some people might think that I'm cheating and this isn't my Sony Bravia OLED. So what I'll actually do in real time, I'll just go ahead and turn on my lights that I have that I use as a display here for my Samsung, or for my Sony. And you guys can clearly see that this is the Sony Bravia AAG OLED that I've been using. We're gonna open up the colors in real time, and you're gonna clearly see that I'm at 50 color. And you see how when you introduce more colors, how oversaturated now the image is going to look at 50 color? If this doesn't prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that when you're watching QLED versus OLED videos and you see different levels of brightness, because again, OLED is dimmer than QLED, that's going to affect the picture quality. I don't know what else will show you that, because there's no other demonstration anyone can show you that will drive it home as clearly as I just did right here. If you like videos like this, smack a like on it. And again, thanks for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Until the next video, I'll see you guys later.